All right, here we are once again. This is Astronomy Daily Live. You can call me Cosmic. And howdy, everybody. I'm back and for another show. This is the second one that I've done, so I'm still on this serious learning curve with all these things. And I'm going to get over here. I've got three sort of screens, right? I've got this one, which is the computer that's running the camera and the stream. I've got this one over here that's going to be doing my chat, which I'm going to get to now. Let's see. And then I've got this one over here, which is my smartphone, which should be showing soon my live stream. So let's just, I guess I just have to keep, it took a while for that one to get going the other day, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to go to my channel over here. It's all these weird technical things that one has to deal with all the time. There's that one. So I'm going to pop out the chat, see who's here. Pop out the chat. Looks like I've got a few viewers. Howdy, howdy. Greetings. All right, there's the chat. Hi, chat. I'm still trying to see it here. Why does, I don't know why that takes as long as it does. So that's kind of weird and annoying. But it's all these technical things, you know, you just have to sort of deal with them and learn slowly. That's not what I want. So hang in there just for a little bit. We'll get going on all this weird internet stuff. Is incredibly cool. Hey, Bob Dog and Tom Van Scooter. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hey, apologies in advance for the relatively poor video quality and lighting. That's, you know, you got to start somewhere. So that's where I'm starting. So nice to see you guys in chat. I'm still trying to pick it up on my smartphone. This happened yesterday too. It just took seemed to take forever to be seen here. So let me, not quite sure what's going on with that. Let me keep trying. You can just hang tight. Scotter. Okay, Scotter. Cool. Tom Van Scotter. Hey. I hope everything is well with you guys. I assume that Bob Dog is a guy. That's probably a relatively good assumption there. Still trying to see this thing, it's just not behaving at all. I'm not quite sure why. It's strange. But I guess, I mean, if hey, there's I Grew Some. Hey, man, nice to see you. So everything looks okay. Everything sounds okay on your end. Because yeah, I'm just not. I'm not seeing it here on my smartphone yet. What the hell? I don't know. I'm new to all this, so I really don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect in terms of behavior. It's just not coming up at all. Let me try one thing. I'm gonna sort of get out of screen here just for a second because I got to type on the dumb little phone. Slash user slash see if I do that. Ha! There I am. Okay. I like to have the smartphone running so I can do this and check the audio. Okay. So, you know, the audio also sucks a little bit, but as I said, you know, you got to sort of start somewhere, and this is where I'm starting. So, finally, sorry, 6 minutes into it. Welcome everybody. Looks like I've got 5 viewers, including me. So I've got four viewers: Bob Dog, Tom Van Scotter, I Grew Some. And wow, I don't know how necessarily to pronounce that, so I'm just going to call you Lord Sesh. How about that? Is that all right? Yeah. Well, howdy. So this is Astronomy Daily Live. I'm doing this every day at 2 hours UTC. This is the second day that I've done this, so I am totally just new. You know, the learning curve is I'm on it for sure. I'm definitely on it, and it's a lot of fun. But let me just I'm going to run through sort of what I sort of see for this this show. It's a very casual, open-minded, skeptical, but hopefully educational, fun conversation about astronomy and related fields. And I'm reading off of a script. That's sort of why I'm looking over this way. But I want this show to be for everybody. You know, the newbie, the amateur, the advanced amateur, and the professional. I have my fingers in all of that, and I span that entire spectrum. So I can speak at any level that anybody wants, and it's hopefully it's going to be fun. That's what it's all about. So I'm trying to do this every day at 2 hours UTC. Most of the conversation I would like to be directed by you folks. I'll probably have a list of topics, but you know, it's pretty free form. I want this to be a very casual, fun conversation amongst friends. So I'm talking Q&A. If you want to get into that, we can talk about observing. We can talk about gear, telescopes, cameras and instrumentation. What else do I have on this list? Research, data analysis. I definitely want to review some journal papers that are coming out constantly, and in fact, I think I want to talk about that a little bit tonight. I'd like these to run for about an hour, but I'm pretty loose in terms of that too. All right, so thank you, Lord, for the pronunciation. I will practice. That's absolutely fantastic. So I also want to talk about personalities, astro-art, which to me is very, very important. You know, this universe is a beautiful place, and to kind of show it off and express it in a creative way, that's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let's talk about that. Definitely want to talk about different astronomical projects that are going on. There are ground-based and space-based projects that are going on in terms of telescopes and instrumentation. Lots of research. We can talk about, you know, our favorite institutions, pretty much anything, you know, that you guys want to talk about. I am wide open, and as I said, I can span, you know, the entire spectrum from you know, the really basic newbie kinds of things up to as advanced as you want to go. And I actually really appreciate when conversations or talks that I go to or papers that I read are you know, just not way above my head, because then of course you get completely lost. But you know, just sort of like that, just sort of up here, so I can see it, but it's sort of above, and it's something, you know, to reach for. I think that's at least for me, that's sort of a useful, helpful thing. So I'm going to check the audio here really quick. Yeah, that's all right. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of reverb because of the walls and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully over time I'll be able to improve. Really excited to have 4 viewers tonight. Yesterday's first show I had 1, which was awesome to at least have 1, so I didn't have to talk to myself or to the wall or to the cats or anything. So that's really nice. So I'd like to, you know, consider this as just a daily gathering of friends to hang out and, you know, discuss topics of mutual interest. In this case, astronomy and all facets of astronomy. You know, the research, the scientific process, all of it. I am game for everything. So, you know, get away from, you know, the TV and the news for a little while, and come talk live to people from all over the world, and don't slouch. And yeah, I think this is going to be fun. So, so I'm located in southeast Arizona in the United States, and sort of on purpose. There are two big reasons why I'm out here. The number one reason, which is like way above everything else, is that it's dark. Okay, I can walk outside my front door or back door, and when I look up, it is black. Okay, I can see 6 magnitude stars easy. I can usually see a little bit more than that, maybe 6.2 or 6.3. The larger the value of the magnitude, the fainter the star or object is. And human eyes can see to about 6th magnitude. Let's see, Venus is about -4, the moon is about -12, the sun is about -26. It's really, really bright. Vega is sort of the standard that was sort of arbitrarily decided on years and years ago to be 0 magnitude at every wavelength of light. So in radio, Vega is 0 magnitude. In the infrared, Vega is 0 magnitude. In the visible, it's 0 magnitude. In the X-ray, it's 0 magnitude. It's sort of the standard. Yeah, so that's how that goes. Let's see. So yeah, I'm here primarily because it is dark, and as an astronomer, as a research astronomer, I and just as an astronomer in general, I like a nice dark sky, and it was always my dream to be able to just walk out the back door and bang, you're in absolute darkness, and that's exactly what it is here. Can't see a thing on a moonless night here. Better bring your flashlight because it is really, really dark, especially when the clouds are out. Because there aren't any lights on the ground to reflect off the clouds, so it's really, really dark. It's really dark out here. The second reason why I'm out here, and this big reason is because it's dark. But sort of a lower level reason is because it's quiet, and those are the two things that I like most: is dark and quiet. If I can have those things, I am in bliss. So yeah, very, very awesome. I grew some is working in the garden and is listening. So cool. We have a little bit of crossover here, which is extremely cool. So yeah. So Lord, what are you trying to understand about galaxies? You need to be a little bit more specific about that. Let me also, while you're answering that, sort of get into a little bit more of my motivation for wanting to do this. I've been watching a lot of YouTube shows that are geared towards astronomy, and I've observed at least two things. The first thing that I've observed is that most of the shows are weekly. All the shows, at least that I watch, are weekly, and they have breaks, and all of that. The second thing is that for the most part, what I've observed, not necessarily scientists. They are educators, science communicators, or people who are just extremely passionate about what they're doing. Very cool. And the guests tend to be the astronomers and sort of the authorities. And we've, the scientists these days are sort of like the high priests. Way back when there was some question that needed to be answered, all the people would go to the high priest and say, "On," and the high priest would have to come up with some kind of an answer. Not, and that's sort of what I'm observing with the current shows. Is that you have this who doesn't have a scientific background. No slouching, no slouching. Who doesn't really have a scientific background, has a lot of knowledge, has a lot of experience and interest. Scientists or a panel of scientists who really have sort of been put on the spot to come up with answers and explanations. And people, that's not how science works. Science is a emerging thing. It blossoms, it grows, it changes direction. To admit that you know something, especially for certainty, is that's not science. It's not science at all. Science is inquiry. Yeah. So let me see. Lord is saying that he's interested in nebulas and black holes, etc. Uh-oh, we have a guest. Buttons. There we go. Okay. Still alive. Okay. Yeah, we will have frequent guests on this live show. Who you just saw there was Andre. He yeah, he likes to jump up onto the desk, and I've got this big huge mug, big mug that I fill with water, and he and the other cats like to come up and drink from it. So he's just doing his thing. Nebulas and black holes. Yeah. Well, honestly, black holes are still a theoretical thing. Haven't been observed. We've seen the motions of objects and materials near things that, at least according to our models, here's another friend. Hello, friend. That at least according to our models say, that there's something relatively interesting there. Whether it is what we think it is, I'm skeptical and open-minded about that. There are good reasons to believe, perhaps, that there is a so-called black hole, for instance, in the center of galaxies. But whether that is what it actually is, what we think it is, I'm not sure. There's a lot of confusion between matter and mass. Matter and mass are not the same thing. Mass has to do with energy content and not with actual stuff, which is matter. So, as far as I'm concerned, at least, and this is not conventional, I don't think. And some of the things that I believe probably aren't too conventional anyway, because I like to question everything, even things that are supposedly set in stone. Just just don't know. Just don't know. Um, so black holes, that's a tough one, and I think I, I think that we're going to be surprised to figure out exactly what is going on there. But I don't necessarily think that it's a huge amount of matter in a very dense form, a very small volume. Not buying that. I'm not buying it, even though a lot of the models match the observations. I'm not buying it. I always think back to the concept of epicycles and how you know uh, to the best of their ability back 3, 4, 500 years ago, um, the the model of epicycles match the observations of the motions of the planets very well, to at least the degree that they were able to measure at the time. Um, but it turns out that that's probably pretty wrong. So it's sort of the white crow thing, right? If you can be wrong just once, then you've really got to question everything. And I like that. I enjoy and appreciate sort of the uncertainty that comes with science. I'm comfortable in that realm because I think it's cool. I think it's really cool that we really don't know all that much, but we're trying so hard. We're trying so hard, and that's when it gets fun. I'm a research astronomer, so I too am trying really hard to figure things out, and just don't know, at all. Um, Nebulas, there are nebulas in general are uh, clouds of gas and dust, and there are different kinds of nebulae. There are gaseous nebulae, which are associated with star-forming regions. There are also planetary nebulae, which are supposedly the remnants of novas and supernova explosions. These are supposedly stars that have uh, gone through some kind of explosive event and ejected um, um, a lot of their mass back out into space. So yeah, let's see. Lord is also saying that he lives in the city and definitely can't see the stars like he wants to. I remember I grew up in a city, and I've been interested in astronomy since I can remember. Um, so I sort of grew up with a particular vision of what the sky looks like. And the first time that I went out to a dark site, my mind was like just completely blown. Right? I mean, I was completely lost. I couldn't locate anything at all because there was just so much. There were so many stars that I wasn't able, to navigate a sky that I had become pretty familiar with. And when I looked up, I was lost. I was completely lost. I was completely blown away. You can see some ears here. Hello. So yeah, that completely blew my mind, and now I have that any clear night. So yeah, southeastern Arizona, a very benign environment. The only thing that we really have to worry about here is wildfire, and that's not a huge deal, but it can happen. Last summer we had a storm, a dry lightning storm, move through, like last June, that sparked off a wildfire that got pretty close to us, burned a lot of the nearby mountain off, and scared a lot of people. Some people did evacuate for a few days. We were never threatened here, although we were packing our bags for sure, getting everybody ready. Warnock 69XXX. Cheers. Cheers. Hey, we're talking astronomy. I think it looks like, at least according to what I'm seeing here, I've got 5 viewers, and that is 5 times as many as last night. So I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. That's very awesome. So, oh, and he's also an Arizona guy. Well, where in Arizona are you? I forget. We might have already crossed that, but I don't remember where we are. I'm looking over at the chat, so I'm not ignoring you. I'm just I'm looking over at the chat. So yeah, you know, I'm hoping that what the show is just a daily gathering of friends who want to talk about astronomy. If you want to get onto the panel, Yuma, that's right. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I've been through Yuma a few times, driving over to California. In fact, one of my trips to California was some work that I did at Palomar Observatory. I had developed an all-sky camera that ran continuously. We mounted it right on top of the dome, and it's still there. It's so cool. The highest thing, right on top of the observatory. It's just awesome. I see pictures of it. It's like, yeah, that's mine. But what it does is and you know, maybe it's been changed. It's been several years now, so maybe improvements have been made. Palomar bought the system, so and all the source code and everything else. So, but what it did was it kept an eye on the sky for aircraft. One of the big things in astronomy now that I had helped develop 20 years ago was adaptive optics. And one of the modes of adaptive optics is to use a relatively high-power laser beam, shoot it up into the sky, and excite the sodium layer in the atmosphere. I think that's up around 70 kilometers or so. And what that does is it produces an artificial star that is bright enough for the adaptive optics systems to lock onto and do their thing. And I'm more than happy, to talk about adaptive optics at some point. I'm just going to gloss over things now because I'm trying to read the chat and keep up with you guys. So anyway, when you shoot a laser beam up into the sky, relatively high power. I don't remember how much power that one was. Several watts, right? Which under normal circumstances, doesn't seem like a lot. But when you have a coherent beam, you can put holes in things, right? I mean, that's really, really dangerous. So we're worried about aircraft. So when laser guide star adaptive optics is being used, the FAA has to be informed, and then the FAA, sends some kind of a memo to the airports in the area saying, don't fly there. But just as a safety thing, I developed a automated detection system to look for these moving objects in the sky, and figure out where they're going and sort of project their path. And if it looked like an aircraft was going to move, within a certain radius of the beam, my system would turn the laser off. And that was tested. I've actually got a paper published on that, and is very, very, very cool. Speaking of focus, is this focus? This is a really, this whole setup is really cheap-ass crap. So unfortunately, you're going to have to put up with that for a little while. So yeah, so getting back to, I really like these diversions. It's fun. Anyway, getting back to what is motivating me to do these live shows. Again, the first thing I saw was sort of a vacuum in terms of daily content. I'm seeing weekly content. I'm seeing, content that is popping up sort of, whenever the content creator wants to. And then I'm seeing hosts that don't necessarily have a scientific background. Not that disqualifies them in any way. It's just a perspective. It's a different perspective. We all have different perspectives on things, and then you have panelists who are scientists and are sort of portrayed as the high priests with all the answers. And that sort of leads into the third thing. What I noticed is that a lot of these shows are very scripted and almost stuffy, in that it's just sort of like barfing out information and being very authoritative and very this is how it is, and we know this for sure. And I can't accept that as a scientist. As a scientist, I to the possibilities. And I removed my little thumb drive. Oh, it's over there. Let me go grab that really quick and put it in here. I will most definitely steal things from Wikipedia when it's appropriate. And I found, I was looking for sort of a nice description of the scientific method. this is sort of the thing that this process is what goes through my head during my work. And I think I can share my screen, which I'm going to do as soon as this image comes up. All right, so I'm going to try to share my screen. This Google Hangouts thing is just, it's so cool. I'm sharing now, so I'm going to go over here. And I think you can see the mouse too. And I'm going to watch over here to see that that screen actually comes up. Yeah, there it goes. You guys are seeing it now. Yay. So I'm not going to go through all this again. I did it last night, and you can sort of watch it. But it's an ongoing process. It's a never-ending process. It's an unfolding, rather than having a beginning and a middle and an end. If you look at this chart, there is no beginning, middle, and end. It's a process. So Lord claims to be a novice, and what could I recommend to read on astronomy? I think there's one thing that you can probably do that's probably at the top of my list, and you're sort of doing it here. You're connecting with others. What I would say is find a local astronomy club. Now, because we're all online, there are Facebook groups, Twitter accounts, all of that. Connect up with people. I think that's really the best way to learn. Anybody who is really into astronomy is going to want to talk about it, and a lot of people like to talk to new people because it's sort of a fresh start for them too, and it's fun. It's fun. It's really, really fun to watch people learn about this. There are so many star parties that I've gone to, where set up the scope, point it to Saturn, right, and I've been honored. I've been absolutely honored to be able to share someone's first experience looking at Saturn. Say, it's still it brings tingles, because I remember the first time I ever really saw Saturn. I was lucky enough to have gotten in with sort of a small group in the astronomy club I was involved in at the time as a kid, as a teenager. And we had access to a 12.5-inch Alvin Clark refractor at Washington State University in Pullman, and we had free reign with this thing, right? Free reign. You just they gave us the key and said have fun, because at the time, and even now, and well, I guess I can't claim to know the status of that scope now, but a 12.5-inch refractor, maybe pretty limited in terms of what can be done in terms of research. Maybe not. But my first real view of Saturn was through a 12.5-inch Alvin Clark refractor. It's sort of like the best of the best. And man, oh man, talk about mind-blowing, just absolutely mind-blowing. Could not believe what I was seeing. I just couldn't believe it. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. I was already hooked, but man, you know, that's like grab tight, hold on, never let go, right? It was just absolutely awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much why I'm motivated to do this, because I think these kinds of things should be fun. They shouldn't be necessarily stuffy. They shouldn't necessarily be preachy. Um, I think that this, and I would like this to be a daily gathering of friends. What's going on today? How's life? Um, uh, yeah. In terms of like other things to read up on astronomy, if you're a novice, Astronomy magazine is pretty good. Is, you know, that'll sort of light your fire a little bit. Um, you'll probably move on pretty quickly to other things. Sky and Telescope is sort of geared towards sort of the advanced amateur. Um, yeah, yeah. So relatively good stuff. If you're completely new, um, find a local astronomy club. That's probably best. Local astronomy clubs, the people associated with those organizations are very welcoming. They're very friendly. They will likely inundate you with their passion, and that's very, very cool. Most clubs, you know, have like a monthly meeting where um, they'll, you know, they'll discuss club business and whatnot, but they'll also have a presentation or many presentations, and those are usually either given by members of the club uh, or guests that are passing through. I'm lucky enough to have lived and have worked in the center of the astronomical world. That is Tucson, Arizona. Okay, you've got Kitt Peak to the west. You've got Mount Hopkins to the south. You have um, Mount Lemmon and the Catalina Observatory to the north, and you have the Large Binocular Telescope to the east. Now I'm east of Tucson now, and actually just due south of the Large Binocular Telescope. The Large Binocular Telescope is the largest optical telescope in the world, and I see it every day, and I wave every day. So Warnock 69 XXX. Is it true that we haven't gone to the moon? That's a question that I get quite a bit, and I would say from my experience, the technology that I have worked on, I have absolutely no doubt that we have been to the moon and walked on the moon and put some footprints and some flags on the moon and brought some rocks back. The technology back then was extremely primitive, and I think it was probably you can look at the transcripts, you can read, you know, the transcripts, and it was not easy. It was not easy. The technology was just, but it could be done. It could be done even then. And so, yeah, I don't really necessarily have any kind of problem with that. Yeah, so no problem there. Pretty sure, pretty sure. And yeah, Warnock 69XXX also mentions that he's got a degree in applied science, and I'm not quite sure what applied science is. I think, you know, the academic path is good for some and not good for others. I don't necessarily think that you need paperwork in order to be any kind of pro. I think professionalism has more to do with knowledge and experience and attitude, rather than, you know, what kind of paperwork you're carrying around. Dun, 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 let's see what else. Recommendation. I will look into these clubs and groups. Yeah, for sure. There are a lot of astronomy clubs. If you're, I don't know if you indicated if you're in the United States or not, but this is a worldwide phenomenon, and amateur astronomers are pretty rabid. They're pretty passionate, and they are everywhere. I think, yeah, at least the groups that I've been associated with, I think the only more rabid group than amateur astronomers are the hams. They are just insane, just absolutely insane. But yeah, these amateur astronomers, they run the full spectrum from folks who come to the club meetings and they walk in, they sit down, they watch, they listen. When the meeting's over, they leave, and that's it. That's all you ever see. You know, they pay their dues, and that's it. To the other side, where, you know, these amateur astronomers are pros. They're very, very pro. They may not, you know, be making a living off of it, but they're doing, you know, real research. They've got all the cool toys. And by the way, if you want to play with cool toys, okay, cars, no. Trucks, no. If you want to play with cool big toys, okay, telescopes. You know, to be able to work at a facility like what was the multiple mirror telescope up on Mount Hopkins, which was six 1.8 meter mirrors arranged in a hexagon. Is hexagon a 6? Yeah. The MMT now isn't a multiple mirror telescope anymore. They kept the name, but it's now a single 6.5 meter telescope. So very, very cool. I don't know how high I got up on that. So Warnock 69XXX asks, okay, bye Tom. Come back tomorrow, same time, same place. Please tell your friends. I would really like to get lots and lots of viewers. I think I'm hoping, you know, that this daily thing catches on, and you know, you have the ability, you know, to come and go as you want. it's sort of my thing. I'm going to be here, at least for the time being, at 2 hours UTC every single day. You're going to have to figure out what time that is, where you are on the planet. For me here in Arizona, we are always on Mountain Standard Time, which is 7 hours behind UTC. So I start here locally. I start at 7 p.m. Now that isn't necessarily good for anybody in Europe. Somewhat better for folks in Asia. That would be early morning, and Australia. That would be, you know, sort of near noon or so, I think. Anyway, we're not 69XXX ass. What's the craziest thing that I've ever seen on the telescope, at the telescope? The craziest thing that I've ever seen. Most of my work at the telescope was sort of engineering work. With engineering work, you see a lot of crazy things because you're trying to get shit to work, right? And so pretty much everything, including the people, are just going mad, especially, you know, when things break. It's really, really intense. I'm gonna have to think about the craziest thing. I've never written down sort of a bucket list of astronomical things to see, but over the years I have pretty much seen everything, and I think maybe not necessarily the craziest thing I've ever seen, but I've seen some pretty cool things. Two things that come to mind. I was doing some UBV photometry of white dwarf stars up at the 61-inch on Mount Bigelow, which is also north of Tucson in the Catalina Mountains. And that was sort of an ongoing project, but and I'd be going up there a few nights every month around new moon, near the dark of the new moon. So, you know, photometry, it was really, really nice. And prior, you know, to going on those runs, I would always check the IAU circulars. It's sort of like a messaging service. When there's a discovery or something new, or some kind of a measurement was made, you could sort of rapidly get that information out. So two things that I remember seeing. The first was Shoemaker-Levy 9. That was the comet that had broken up in like 21 pieces or so, and was en route to impacting Jupiter. And I saw that up at the 61-inch with these eyeballs, because at the time the 61-inch actually still had an eyepiece on it, so I could actually look through a 61-inch telescope. Very, very cool. But yeah, it looked like a cigar. It was you know, elongated. It just looked like a whole bunch of comets. So that was extremely cool. It was very, very, very cool. Any photometry on that. What I did do, though, there was a supernova 1991T, I think it was. I saw that. So I observed a supernova, which was just totally, totally cool. Any major astronomical events coming up in 2018 that I can't wait for? I think probably at least one of the interesting ones, and it's not necessarily an event, but something that is kind of rare, and I like these rare things. Here, I've got my friend back. Hello there. Is there is a full moon. There are two full moons in January. So the second one would be considered a blue moon, and there are two full moons in March. The second one, again, would be considered a blue moon. So there is no full moon in February at all. So that's a pretty rare occurrence. I wouldn't call it spectacular. I mean, it's just kind of a neat alignment of things. So that's pretty cool. You know, there are a number of resources out there, and with the internet today, it's like it's so easy, to find out things. So there are a number of people who put out lists of events, astronomical events. So that's all I can recommend there is look it up and let me know, because yeah, don't want to miss rare events, at least. Yeah, very, very cool. Let's see. Yeah, hey, Warren XXX. I live in Arizona, and that is a medical cannabis state where you have to be a patient with some kind of a medical condition in order to get a card, in order to be legal. I'm healthy. I have no condition at all. So I don't qualify. So I can just enjoy the rest of you. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy that community, and I think I'm hoping to tie those two communities together a little bit more, because we know that cannabis and other substances have most definitely been involved in scientific work. A lot of that, well, a lot of the background things in terms of astronomy are alcohol-based, right? You go to a conference, not necessarily to go to the talks or see any of the posters, but to hook up with your friends at the bar. Those kinds of contacts are extremely awesome and extremely fun. But I would say alcohol doesn't necessarily assist in any scientific endeavor at all. It's a nice socializing drug, but it really doesn't help exploration in terms of creativity and the scientific process. Just FYI, Carl Sagan was a daily cannabis consumer, and he has attributed a lot of his insights through that process. And I think that's very, very cool, because as a kid, okay, Carl Sagan was like the guy. I mean, he was um, most definitely, you know, the astronomer that I looked up to the most, and didn't know it at the time, but he was a cannabis consumer, and apparently it helped him a lot. So I think that's very, very cool. I think anything that helps, you know, the process, we should look at with an open and skeptical mind. Let's see. I'm going back to the chat, and I'm glad to see that it's sort of scrolling a little bit. Let's see. Lord was asking a little while ago, what does a falling meteorite in Earth's atmosphere look like through a telescope? Two things. If you're able to you know, visually see a meteor flying through the sky, looking at it through a telescope, it's all you're really going to see is just a very, very, very brief, bright flash. The cool thing, though, is that there are a lot of meteors that are so small. I mean, just micro dust grains, that you can't see them with your eyes. So I would say every night I would be out observing, you know, just visually observing, which I don't really do much anymore, but pretty much every single night that I would be out observing, visually observing, you'll be looking through, you know, the eyepiece, and I would see a little thing, and that's a meteor. So I can say that it's extremely brief because it's moving so fast, and it's sort of a shock, right? Because, you know, you're focusing your eyes on a galaxy or a binary star, or whatever you're looking at, right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes this thing, and you know, it's like, whoa, what was that? And it takes you a couple seconds. So it's a little bit of a shock. It's a rush, though, right? I mean, it's a total rush. It's like that. That's very, very cool. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Off-Grid Messiah, nice to see you again. Glad you're coming back. Look, we've got 5 viewers tonight. That's 5 times as many as yesterday. So that's absolutely awesome. Not quite sure. Yeah. Do what you got to do to add me, share. Want to get this group up in population, because this is really, really fun. Hello, wife. Hey, I've got a wife too, but she is out of the country right now. So I am batching it up with all the cats and dogs here. We have quite a brood, and yeah. So I'm just you know, it's a party every night, and party every day, and you know, girls everywhere, and you know, jumping out of cakes, and you know, the whole thing. Yeah. Honestly, when wife goes, we all just, you know, stand around and mope a little bit, because it's like, you know, it's like our life is completely just gone, right? Let's see. Can you possibly imagine? Yeah, yeah, I think so. OMCXXX. I think that's about right. I think that's about right. And for sure, the cats and dogs here, they they'll stop eating. They'll just, you know, they look completely confused, right? Um, yeah, yeah. I've got to get the poll. I still have to get the poll, you know, because it's just no fun, you know, without um, one of those. Anyway, let me, as I said, you know, I'm not necessarily here just as an educator. I'm here as a friend, right? But let me. We're running over the hour now, so at the moment, I sort of want to keep this to about an hour. And what I'm going to pull up, I just want to show this to you if you're not already aware of it. archive.org. Oh, type it right. org. If you're into science, okay, if you're into science at all, this is your site. I'm going to share this screen. Come on, do that. Share the screen, and I'm going to go over here to archive.org. And I hope you can see that okay. I'm going to do this. Kitty wants out in a major way, but we'll be all right for a little while. Okay, so there's archive.org, and as you can see, I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. They've got physics, okay? Any kind of physics that you want. Now, what this is an archive of journal papers. These are usually what are called preprints. So before scientific articles are even published in the astronomical journals, you can find them here. But this isn't just astronomy, okay? This is astronomy. This is condensed matter physics, high energy physics, mathematical physics, nuclear physics, quantum physics, and then we get into mathematics, computer science, biology, finance, statistics, economics, electrical engineering, all of it. Okay, this is like, oh, okay, and it's all, I mean, it's all the latest stuff. Okay, the latest stuff. When I hear about some kind of a discovery or some kind of a thing going on, I go to archive.org and I find the actual paper. Okay, I don't want to read somebody's interpretation of a paper. As a scientist, I want to see the data. Okay, I want pictures. I want words. Right. Anyway, the first one on here is the astrophysics one, and I always like to look at the new ones. And you can go in here. Let me unicorn potato. Unicorn Potato, thanks for stopping by. We are talking astronomy. This is Astronomy Daily Live. This happens every single day. This is only my second day doing this, okay? But this is going to be happening every single day at 2 hours UTC. You've got to figure out what time that is for where you are. You can figure it out. No worries at all. Unicorn Potato, that is a cool name. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Do I like telescopes? Yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, that is. So what we're looking at here is the latest papers that are coming out. Haven't really even been published yet, right? But a lot of this stuff, you read the titles, right, and it's just absolutely insanity, right? It's just so much of this is I really don't even know what they're trying to figure out, right? But they're doing it, and I love the passion, right? And when I can understand it, it's even better, right? Uh, you think my name is awesome? Yeah. That's probably just like your online name. Cosmic Lettuce has a history. It actually goes back not before the internet, but um, before I was really involved in the internet. Sometime I'll get into that story. But you can scroll through these, and as you can see, you've got titles, and these are the abstracts. These are what are called abstracts. They're sort of a brief summary of the entire paper. And what you can do, right? I'm going to try to find one here that looks interesting. This one says, not all stars form in clusters. Not all stars form in clusters. Okay, let's just look at that. So what you can do, they publish the PDF files of these things. So you can pull that out. I'm going to, my kitty wants out. I'm going to very briefly leave the camera and let him out. Okay. So this thing is coming up here. It's probably insanely slow because my bandwidth also sucks. Okay. Anyway, so not all stars form in clusters. Measuring the kinematics of OB associations with Gaia. Now, Gaia is a sky survey. So they photographed the sky and measured where all the stars are and measured their colors. I think they did that. Anyway, so there's the abstract, and then here's the paper, right? And you can read exactly what these folks are doing, how they did it. Most scientific papers follow sort of a recipe, which, strangely enough, surprisingly enough, follow the scientific method. So they introduce sort of the problem and what they're seeing. Then they get into what they think might be going on, and then they start collecting data like any good scientist should do. That, and they talk about how they collected the data and how they calibrated the instruments and all this. And my favorite part, right? I like pictures. Pictures are very, very cool, and a lot of the pictures are very beautiful, and I just like to look at the colors, right, and the lines. I think it's extremely cool. Warnock 69XXX. I'm new to YouTube. You can help me grow. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I don't unicorn potato. I don't necessarily know if I have a mission or not. I've noticed that there's a vacuum, and I am trying to fill that vacuum. Yeah. Let's see. So anyway, I'm just paging through this stuff now. I don't necessarily want to keep you folks much longer, but you know, they go through their process of trying to work out what they're observing and trying to match it to various models. And wow, this is a nice long article too. It's in parts, and yeah, there's lots of big words, and really cool thing too is that, you know, any of these journal articles are sort of a launching point, because you start to read it and it's like, what is that? And so you Google that, right, and then go back to the article a couple days later, and it's like, oh shit, what's that? On and on and on. And then I don't know if you can see it on this screen or not. Can I zoom? I think I can zoom here. Can I? Should be able to zoom in. Oh yeah. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can see. Oh, that's a little bit too much. You can see. Let's see if I can find one. Hide that. Switch this over. You can see here, for instance. Okay, this is a reference. This is a reference, and references are just that. It's a reference to another paper, right? So whatever they're talking about here, they don't want to bore the reader with you know, sort of a tangential explanation of this. So they reference other people's work or their own work, and that's another path of discovery for you, because it's like, okay, I can go to that reference and I can look that one up too, probably on archive.org. So that's very cool. I'm going to try to back out of this now. Is that good? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Anyway, whoop, my screen just went black over here because I didn't update it. Yeah, OMCXXX, I am streaming at 2 hours UTC every single day. And I'm going to try to unshare my screen. Let's see. Can I do that? Can I do that? Camera's going to come on. There I am. Okay. Now I'm back. Hi. Let's see if there's anything else on the chat. Oh well, thanks, Unicorn Potato. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do what's essentially, you know, some marketing stuff, and try to get the word out a little bit more. I'm counting on you folks, really, to make this all go. I appreciate the encouragement. That's nice. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Let's see. Have I missed any questions? I'm glad you think it's freaking cool. I think astronomy is very, very cool, and you know, I think I'm going to end with this. The reason why I got into astronomy, and as I said before, I've been an astronomer as long as I can remember. So, and the reason for that is that astronomy is the study of everything. Astronomers have to deal with the extremely small, the subatomic, all the way through the largest structures in the universe, the cosmos itself. So when I look at that, it's like, yeah, I want to study everything. So in order to study everything, I do astronomy, because it covers it all. And what could be better than that? It's very, very cool. All right, Potato, I will do that. Okay, well, I think I'm going to end this for tonight. I really, really, really appreciate you guys coming in, and participating. This is something that I didn't mention at the beginning, but I will mention now since you're all here. If you want to be on the panel, I can bring you in, right? You just have to send me an email. I think I have a link. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. If you want to be in on the panel, I think that'd be extremely cool. Yeah, I am definitely game for that. I think it'd be extremely cool to have some other voices other than mine. And look, I've been a really, really bad host today because I have not been drinking my my H2O. I haven't been doing that. Yeah, I think it'd be extremely cool to have more voices in here. I'm more than happy, to read off of the chat. But bringing you in. So if you want to be on the panel, just send me an email, cosmiclettuce@gmail.com. And when I go live, I will send you the link. I think that's how that works. And you can come on and be another voice. So yeah, I think this is very cool. I like where this is going. Again, thanks so much for coming in. As I said, I'm trying to fill a vacuum. There are, as far as I know, there are no daily live YouTube shows on the topic of astronomy, and there also, as far as I know, there are no scientists that are hosting the shows, and at least the shows that I watch, I like them. I like them a lot. I really, really do. I will continue watching them. I get a lot out of them, of course. But sometimes they're a little stuffy and a little scripted, and the participants seem a little nervous, and you know, almost rightly so, you know, because the the scientists are asked to perform an impossible task, and that is to uh, tell the truth. And they no, you know, or be some kind of authority. You know, we know this and we know that. And it's like, well, yeah, let's be skeptical and open-minded, um, and have fun. And I consider all of you my friends. I definitely would like to get to know you a lot more, and you're getting to know me a lot more. This is, yeah, for the most part, this is me. I'm usually a lot quieter than this, but if if uh, if you observe me in my natural environment, you're not gonna see much, right? Because I'm just sort of, you know, working on things. So yeah, so I'm a research astronomer. I'm a scientific programmer. Definitely big nerd, big nerd. Um, Mad scientist. Uh, yeah, having a blast, having a total blast. Um, Glad you came. Dun, 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 dun. Potato, you don't know much about astronomy. Uh, no worries, no worries at all. If you'll learn, and you'll find out things. And check out archive.org. That's you know, it's all that stuff is supposed to be over our heads, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. And fun. Fun stuff. Check out the articles. Those things are updated daily as well. So, you know, there's always new stuff coming out, and it's neat to sort of be on the bleeding edge of all of that, in terms of reading about it, at least. Okay, I am going to exit this planet. I've got I've got to get back up. I just, you know, it's yeah, they're starting to beam. So gotta go. I will see you all again in 23, 22 and a half hours. 22 and a half hours. All right. Peace.